There we go. Hello, everyone. Neil for T-Shares here. Looking at another day for Tru2X and from Tru2DeFi.io. Appreciate y'all being here. We're going to take a look at some numbers where we are. We have just crossed over into day 10 on Tru2X platform. And I have a guest with me, Kairos from Emit Farms. There he is. Hey, Kairos, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, Neil? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, kind of a fun day. I know some things have happened, interesting things that happened on Emit in the last week. So take a look at that here in a minute. I'm sure the Emit holders and stakers are really, really happy right now.
Yeah, definitely. I know we had it was pretty dry there with the sentiment and just pulse for a few months there. We actually had reached, I think, our all-time low of like 22 cents. And yeah, in the past 7 or 8 days, we've done 320%. So like a 3.2x, which is definitely woke everybody up.
Yep, that's it. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Well, let's take a look at today's what the current stats are on Tru2X. They turned over and the computations are finished, and I'm gonna share my screen and take a look at what's going on here. All right. All right. Good deal. Good deal. I guess everybody can see that okay. Yeah, this is the dashboard right now. As of today, there's 6,962 miners that are mining Pulse on Tru2X. And we had a total of, as of the turn of the day, 185.6 billion Pulse have been deposited into the Tru2X tool here. It's not bad at all. Not bad. And today is we're already at 249 million things are processing. So that's good. That's good. We do have a different thing that happened though. Have less than 1 million shares available today for people to get for their deposits. And that's because the SRE has begun depositing proceeds and yield from like Emit and other things into the system. And so as we do this, the what we do is basically make a deposit, and those funds go into the mining pool. But before they do, they pull their proportional shares off the market, so to speak, and burn them. They disappear, and as fewer shares are available, which helps everybody's share rate going forward. This is what the system does, and this is how we operate with the SRE funds, and that's why we using Emit to earn yield. That yield then goes back as dividends to Tru2X users and stakers. So this is kind of where the numbers are right now, and then right now we have 14 billion Pulse available for distribution right now, and this 9.63 million is how many shares are in the system as of day 10 right at the moment. So looking good, looking good. So I'm gonna go down a little bit, and I see Striker's coming up. When he gets settled, I'll get him brought up. So right now, on day one, a day one depositor, you are at a 1.197 X factor, which is pretty good, pretty good. Day two, the current X factor is 1.2493, which is really good. You're already at 25% above your original deposit. If you wonder why day one is less than day two, it's just because of math. It's how the math works. Day one had a larger deposit, therefore it had more shares to distribute to the people and dividends. Therefore, there's more dividends going out this day than it is on day two. Day three is at 0.7. Day four is 0.63. Day five is a 0.43. Day six is a 0.32, and day seven is a 0.16. And day 8 is a 0.09. So there's our current X factors for Tru2X. We're doing pretty good. We're happy with the results. The dividends are being distributed. People are earning yield. They're using referral links. Most people who are using referrals are already above a 2X. Actually, if they've used them aggressively, they've actually earned in the net more than a 2X, so which is good. So all right, we're another guest. Let's see, Striker, you ready to come up, man? Yeah, let's add him to the stage and see what's up. Hey, man.
Oh, hey, how are you?
man. See you.
I just came on. I first time using this thing, but glad to see you guys.
Hey, yeah, man. Yeah, Striker's one of our head admins and troubleshooters on Tru2X. He's been helping people with the in the chat with their technical stuff and their wallets and all the UI things that we were having to overcome with the different uh, the different issues with the with just connectivity and stuff. It's just tech. We're all getting it. We're all overcoming it, and we're moving forward. So Striker's been a big help trying to help people problem solve, especially with who people use mobile wallets like OKX and stuff. We really appreciate his help.
My
Good.
pleasure, my
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you showed up, man. It's really good. Yeah. So this is where we are to X factors. We yesterday in the we had yesterday's deposits were 17.49 billion, which ended up bringing the total up to 185 billion as of the end of the turnover. Just about 30, 40 minutes ago. I mean, a couple hours ago, at when the day turned over. So, yeah, everything's been doing good. SRE's engaging, and our we had several system miners or 1XR miners that left the system yesterday, and then are acting as new deposit. Will act as new deposits today going forward. So that's what's happening with Tru2X in our system. So, but yeah, this deposit we made yesterday with some of the yield. Well, we chose to take a slow approach and take a little bit of yield every day and put it into the system. And that yield comes from outside yield generation. It's not internal funds. They are the 1XR miners in the partner program. But this is outside yield, and this outside yield comes from places like EMIT. And so we're going to take a look at now the EMIT chart. Let me stop sharing the screen and see what's going on with EMIT right now.
Yeah, I was running the numbers yesterday and single-sided pool, and you guys had climbed all the way up to 14.75% of the single-sided pool as of yesterday when I was checking.
So yeah, all right, here's the EMIT chart, EMIT pulse pair it's got the most liquidity, 33,000 right now, and let me see something here. Let me do this. All right, well, see people. That looks pretty big. All right, yeah, that'll work. So yeah, I can zoom in a little bit. So let's take a look about some stuff. So let's see what the SRE does with EMIT today. The SRE basically is what it's doing is going through, and because of EMIT's unique setup, it has the single side stake in it. And so, Karis, why don't you explain that the single side and how it works on a mechanical and technical level, so people can understand why we even consider using it?
Yeah, definitely. So EMIT at its base level is a yield farming protocol, which I know a lot of people have done yield farming. So the demand comes from the new EMIT tokens being created each day. And right now it's 555 tokens, which are created per day and distributed among the LP farms. And so that all works just like classic yield farming. And the difference with EMIT is I merged the yield farming with reflection token dynamics. So there's a 5% fee on the EMIT token, and 4% of that is being redirected into the single-sided pool. So that comes from buys and sells, people entering or exiting liquidity positions, and it scales with volume. So anyone that's single-sided staking their EMIT is earning stable tokens in EDI. Is how it works.
That's awesome. Well, we just made our first buy of the day. We went from we were at 0.144 to $1.44 to $1.47 in dollar value. That's a little green candle there. There's the first green candle. So moving on strong with the SRE. Now, we tell people with this, we're publicly doing this live on stream, so there's no secret what we're doing. We've been very open about this, and Karos and I have had talks about this before we even launched Tru2X, what our plans and our intentions were. And so if you want to front run us, go right ahead. We're here to do it. The SRE doesn't care what you do.
You see, after there's a buy like that, that little red candle after. It's interesting how, once it moves on that main pair, those arbitrage bots come in and sell because they're actually going to all the other liquidity pairs, which were paired with a lot of projects like, PTGC, all the RH cores, Gelato. So we have a bunch of good partner pairs. Rhino is another one we have a pretty big pair with, the Surf guys. And so it actually levels out all those LP pairs. And in total, in that main pair, I just noticed, so it says there's 30,000 in liquidity in that main pair, but our total liquidity is 51,000. So almost 40% of our market cap is paired in liquidity.
Yeah, so you can see the purchase here, and then immediately the bots come in and do their balancing with all the rest of the pools on the chart on the transaction list. So those little red dots are all this happening in real time as emits gets bought up. Now we're at $1.49 right now, with the emit current price.
Sammy was Fat Sammy of Pulse Bitcoin. One of their biggest pairs is with emit, and in the last few days, since we went up that 300%, since their biggest pair is emit, it actually pulled Pulse Bitcoin up 50% as well, just from being paired with us.
Correct. And it's not just them. All the pairs that are bonded with emit, as we purchase it from, as SRE purchases it from the system and stakes it, they're all benefiting, whether it's Vouch, whether it's Vox, Gelato, all your partners, right? They're all getting a little bit of this help as emit goes up. So, so this is it's a neat system. I really like how you designed emit.
And it works the other way too. On the buys, you see those sells come in, but on the other way, if there's a big sell, it adjusts all the LP positions, which that makes it easier for people when they want to exit emit. If they want to sell, say 1,000 emit, like there's plenty of liquidity between our main pairs and then all of those partner pairs as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know, people, that there may be a little bit of concern with all the pairs and emit as distribution from the LP emissions may be diluted in the broadcast of the sheer number of pairs that are out there. But at the same time, it kind of acts, it's a double-edged sword in some sense. You maybe lose a little bit on LP in a few, but your impact on sales happen is diminished to where it's not so severe on liquidity bonding.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And with the yield firing protocol, that's what you want. You don't want, if someone comes in and they decide, once they're exiting the system and say they're, selling a good chunk of emit, you don't want that to demolish the price every time that happens. So that was one of my focuses as I've grown the project, was to make sure we're paired with a lot of projects and to just grow those liquidity pairs as much as we can, because it helps the system in both ways, on the way up and the way down.
Yeah. And so as we see the SRE engaging, we see the green candles coming in, and we should see one pop up here in maybe it just did. Running. Yep. There it goes. There it is. Look at that big old green candle. Look at that.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
150.
Yeah, so if you'd have paid attention this morning and picked up some emit when I made my post, or you would have an opportunity to make some profit here. And we encourage it, because when you sell, it's more volume, right? More volume means that single side staking pool gets more yield, higher APY. And it's a win-win for everybody, and we are happy to participate and give you your gains if you want to try to front run us.
Yeah, that was one of the things I had in mind when I was I made the changes to the yield farming with the reflection token dynamics. And then it's interesting to watch, because as the price swings, it usually seems to be at about the 10% mark. If the price goes up 10% or down 10%, that's when those arbitrage bots really flood in and start adjusting all the prices. And like you said, we want to see that because that's more volume that's being put into that single-sided pool.
Yep. And so I'm managing, things over here on this side, and I actually add to our SSS pool per buy as I go, right? So that's one of my things I'm doing. So I can benefit then from my own purchases, that come after a little bit later because of how the pool works. And it'd be interesting to see anybody else who wants to try to manipulate or dump and stuff. I would like to see in these bigger whales participate in the system, because it'd be interesting to see the dynamic as the volume moves up and down, especially people with big holders who, once we hit all-time highs, we can even see if we go to, sorry, I'm running two mice here, the ratio here. We're now at 113,000 pulse per emit, which is, it's not quite there, but we're getting to the all-time high as far as ratios go. We don't lack too much. That's a pretty good. It's a pretty good looking chart if you look at it all. So yeah, we don't lack too far. It's only and that was a wick, if I'm not mistaken. That was probably not a full daily candle. So yeah, a couple more days of the SRE interaction, we should be at the highest ratio point for emit.
And it's interesting too, because as the price goes up, like you said, that's almost like a bribe for the people that are participating in the single-sided pool. They see that price go up and they say, well, should I withdraw now and take some profits on the emit? But then at the same time, as the volume's growing, so are the stable token rewards. I think right now it's like 130% on the single-sided with like 160K in TVL. So it's got some pretty solid incentives. And I would be interested to see, like, I imagine, if there was like one or two, more whales and they were competing over trying to get that single-sided position. Like, you've grown a very solid one now up to like, that 14%. And, you picked it up from the bottom there. So that's beautiful. But yeah, it has a really fair distribution because we launched like 8 months ago, and I was going over the numbers yesterday. And on average, there's around like 50 to 60 of us that all have between 1,000 and 5,000 emit single-sided staked in there. And so, but it seems really strong-handed. Like, I haven't, even since you started doing this, I haven't seen a lot of any big sells really. I've seen some people taking profits, of course, but.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. You say that because I noticed the same thing, and we were kind of Daniel and I were talking about that. We were kind of surprised that once we got up above $1, we're like, people weren't going ahead and taking profits from the single-sided holders, because some of them who picked up a pretty good sized bag at the bottom, you'd think, well, they're up now, and so why not go ahead and take profit. But I guess they're liking the single-sided reward so much, they would rather have that than the price action on the sell.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how when I was designing the system. That was one of my main concerns. Well, initially I was like, how do I stop that death spiral of the yield farms where typically it'll go down, you're single-sided staking and you're earning more of that same reward token. So it gets to a point where, of course, everyone starts selling, because what else do you really do with it? But in emit, where you're earning those stable tokens, and especially when you have these high volume days, you look into your single-sided and, it's $100 in stable tokens from yesterday. Like, that's a pretty solid incentive. And then in addition to that, with the DAO, as people want that voting power to be able to vote on, their friends' farms or creating proposals for farms they want to see. So those two things were really the things that I implemented to kind of incentivize the single-sided staking. And then, so you say the price goes up, right? And then, maybe someone decides, I'm gonna take out 2,000 emit and sell it. Well, when the TVL, since he's removing, that TVL comes out, that APR actually jumps up right then because the TVL is reduced. So it increases that incentive. Like, each action kind of plays off one another. It's pretty cool game theory.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I like how the system is reflexive too, because it's not just one-sided. It's a very reflexive system between the single-sided staking and LP provision. and all the things. So as people participate in whatever way, if they just want to speculate on the token, but this is really a first of its kind. If you think about it, this partnership between Tru2X and emit, in the way we're working at it, emit has become the first protocol, partnered project where one protocol is utilize another protocol for, in this case, external yield generation. And because of that, we don't act emotionally or irrationally, because we are a system, right? And systems need yield. And the SRE exists solely for the purpose of earning yield. It's not about the value of the SRE in the sense of like the LP pairs we do, or even the price of emit per se. That's really secondary, because regardless of the price of emit and what the token does, a whale comes in and dumps it right now, which even if they tried, we own enough of the token now in just LP and single sided that nobody could hurt us in overall value. Even you yourself would have the hard time pushing the price below, a certain point, just because we've got such a big position, and we'll continue to get a bigger position. Now, I'm going to answer the question. Martin Maxkeen asked the question, will emit be the main way of funds for Tru2X? I don't like using the word main. It's just right now it's significant because of its design, and we are utilizing it exclusively at the moment for the maximum gain, because we get over 100% APY or APR in the single-sided staking pools, plus what we're earning on each individual LP pool we support. And so all these funds are utilized for the benefit of Tru2X, and go into our deposits for the auction lobby, and then thus reduce the share rate, as I showed earlier, that was on the display on the homepage. So, but there'll be other things coming out in the future, and we're also using Vouch. I've already made this morning. Before I got on, I got Vouch set up as some VPLS. We have that I'll pair up here shortly with some emit in one of the LP pairs, and we'll do that as well. So that's part of our way, because we earn, when we use the Vouch, we deposit the pulse, and we earn that percentage yield from the validators as participation virtually. And because of that, what we'll do is say 30 to 45 days from now, we'll go back in and I'll redeem all that, and take all that earned yield from Vouch and add it back to the mining the mining pool for Tru2X. And so it's yield on yield, because now I'm earning LP yield from emit tokens and earning extra pulse with using Vouch's VPLS. And so it's not really a big secret, and it's not really rocket science. It's just using the tools that are out there in the systems in DeFi to leverage them to benefit Tru2X and Tru2X depositors, who can then earn more yield. And so we were talking in the emit chat this morning, and I said, if love is given to Tru2X, that love is returned back to emit, which in turn gives love back to Tru2X, which goes back to emit. It's a perpetual cycle. So it's never a one-sided thing. It's always reciprocal, based upon the actions of the people and the users. So people who like emit, and they like Tru2X, could maybe even take their yield, their single-sided yield they're earning, and go put it into Tru2X and double it. That's a way you could utilize, and you get even more out of this the reciprocal partnership we have between the two platforms.
Do you have a plan with the emit? Because I know have you been mostly focusing on the single-sided position, or are you you're going into the farms as well, so that you'll have that ongoing emit, which can be sold?
The farm, we're roughly 50-50 now in our positions. So that's kind of how we're working it. So I'm kind of looking at, and I spread out the LPs based upon the math. I look at how heavy the pools are, stuff like that, what they're paying out, and also we are supporting our IA partners. So we actually deposit into the Vox emit pair, the Gelato emit pair, obviously the Vouch emit pair, and others. I'll go through in a minute, and I'll do some live drops in just a second in some of these pairs, and you should be able to see then when the bots balance, the bonus, like Sammy said, the emit's going up, therefore Pulse Bitcoin goes up, right? And some of the ones we're directly doing, like Vox had a 4% increase just in one small buy, as we're trying to show the power and effectiveness of what we're doing with the SRE. So waiting back for Nova to get back with me and talk shop, but there's other opportunities out there for protocols. So I mean, just DM me and we'll talk shop and go over some of this because I really want to be. Tru2X is agnostic, and we don't have a playing favorites, things like that. It's just a math thing. So, but we're agnostic, and we want to help support Pulse Chain and Pulse Chain projects, but they have to have good fundamentals and obviously security and all the other stuff that's involved. So.
This does recording error here. Is that just on my side, or is that? Oh, never mind. I guess it
I'm recording. Yeah, I'm recording everything, and it's being broadcast on X as well. So.
Okay. Yeah. It popped up an error. I wasn't sure if that was on my side, but it cleared up now.
So the question was, Martin, why only put 14% of deposits into things that provide real yield like EMIT? 80% goes to users. Why not opposite way for more real yield? All right. So the reason for that, Martin, is math. In Tru2X, because of math, the 40% we're doing is not generating yield fast enough. And if you think about mathematically, even at 130% APY, what is that per day, right? So mathematically, if we did the opposite, even when we were getting 200 and 300% APY, it's still not equal to or greater than 80% of the deposit volume. So there's a balance there you have to achieve. So and everything on all our projections and models when we decided to do this, these numbers were very sustainable and work better with all the other systems we have in place, like the 1XR miners, as well as the integration amplifier partners. So there's really a three-prong. Well, there's four things that provide the yield, and users being 80% is part of it. But the 1XR miners, the IA partners, and then the SRE funds, they contribute all in part to the daily volume Tru2X, and thus the yield generated and dividends people earn. Now, as time goes on, though, there is the impact of the SRE gets bigger and bigger because we have more economic mass, right? So obviously, think about it with EMIT. The more EMIT we hold in the pool, once we get, say, to 50% ownership, then we would end up getting half of that 4%. We get 2% every day of every buy and sell from these single-side staking. That's just how the math works. So that's a lot more than we get today with only holding 14, 15%, whatever it is right now. So it's a mathematically driven process that we've proven works well in all our models, and it's showcasing out exactly as we need to and see it right now with Tru2X. So we got some pretty good. So the volume is what? I don't understand why the volume keeps going down. It was at like 11,000 this morning. That's for 24 hours. Did it reset at a certain time of the day? Do you know?
Yeah, I think that it keeps going from the 24-hour mark to that'd be in the last 24 hours. So as time goes on, depending on the amounts, they fall off the end there. And that would just be the one pair too. So I've noticed like on EMIT / PLS, if that one's around 10K, it seems like on all the core pairs, it's usually about 10% of that. So the total is a bit more than just on that main pair also.
Because it's the overall average volume is a lot more. So that makes sense. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. But yeah, this is I'm sure people like watching the charts, and looking at what you're doing, and what we're doing together, and how we're working on the system. So, wow, look at that candle! Wow, look at that. There was a green candle before our green candle, so somebody bought, then we bought too. So, interesting. I got this on a 1 second chart, people. So it's ticking along as in real time as we talk. But look at these volumes down here. Bam, bam, bam. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. Yeah, I'm working on like 2 different systems here, so y'all bear with me. I'm trying to focus and not make sure I do all this in the right orders as I try to do all this. But yeah, I mean, we're really pleased with our progress. We're pleased with what we're earning with EMIT and Vouch, and so yeah, we're looking to expand out too. So and there'll be other opportunities that come in the future about yield production because the systems work how they work. I know we had a question in the chat last night. One of our guys came in. I've known for a while. I was like, yeah, well, he was doing the math. I knew he was doing the math in his head. He goes, I know what the yields are on all these things. There's no way you can earn enough for the SRE to do what you got to do. And I kind of chuckled, but but at current state, no, obviously there is going to be some limitation, but we have other future shiny objects we're going to bring to the table. But until then, we're using these good projects like EMIT here, and they're showing they're shining like a bright sun here in the dark depths of pulse chain in the current market.
Yeah, I know someone came into the EMIT chat and they asked me, and they were like, "Is there any downside to the way that Neil's using the SRE to participate in EMIT?" And I was like, "Nope, not really. Pretty much, you guys are acting just as anyone would use EMIT. So that's perfect, really, for us." As far as strategy wise, I always pretty much give everyone the same strategy because I think it's a good starting strategy if you're not in EMIT yet, and that's usually to put half of whatever you want into your single-sided and then the other half into the farm, and then you kind of get the best of both worlds. You earn the stables, and then you're also earning the EMIT, which on your EMIT farms, when you collect rewards, you can go from the rewards in the farm to your single-sided staking if you want, and there's no fee. So that route is free as far as fees on your daily strategy.
Yep, that is true. That is true. The only thing that's kind of clunky, and it's not your fault, it's because how Vouch works. It's nothing to do with you, but I have to manually do my VPLS EMIT LP provision because I need to actually stake my pulse and get my own VPLS. So I get credit in the wallet to get the reward later. Instead of market buying it and stuff like that. So I've chosen to do that. So it takes me a little bit longer to do what I want to do with some of that. So I have to kind of do some mathematical calculations to achieve the desired results. But yeah, I mean, we've been really happy though. So let's see here. Question from Martin Max King. What is your take on Q1 2026? Will Pulse keep going down or up? If Pulse chain goes up, then Tru2X EMIT will soar. EMIT will pump to $10. Well, good possibility. So I think we're going to hit a bump. We're going to go down then up. I mean, that's not just my take. I was watching some other people's opinions, and I mean, they're probably just good as anybody else's. But there's still people taking profits right now, even at the bottom. And I have a feeling, look at some of what I've seen, is some of the developers using, paying devs and stuff like that, and a few other people with bigger bags. Seems kind of counterintuitive, but it's just the way it is on the chain. And you can't help people who have a lot of pulse. How else are they going to realize gains? They got to sell it. And it's just kind of the way it is. You don't want to. I mean, it's just the facts. I mean, like when it takes cost to run servers and stuff. It takes cost to pay devs. You have the overhead. It's the reality. Just the reality of the situation here. I'm working on some math here, so just give me a second. But I do love your zapper though. It's very, very convenient for your LP. Very convenient. But yeah, we're still working away though with the stuff. So it's nothing secret here. You know, we've been very transparent with Tru2X. We'll be doing with not just emit, but with the community as well. And we encourage you to front run us, you know, and then take some profit because everybody wins if you do.
Yeah, the more trading, the better, right? Since it's all volume driven over at emit. Well, as far as the single-sided rewards, it's nice when the price goes up on the farming APRs as well. Like we were at the bottom, and pretty much our highest paid farm was at around 80% on the emit/PLS, and I think today it was all the way up to like 140%. And we have the RH core farms, which is like the PLSX/PLS, PLS/Inc. And those had gone all the way down to like 1%, but those are back up to around 15, 20%. So I know a lot of users are looking for that because they already have the LP and, you know, no downside with the farming. So it's nice to have those APRs back up.
Yep, exactly. So, what's it going to take to push the single-sided up to 200%? What would it take mathematically?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would have to do some. It varies because it's based on the volume, but also when the price goes up like this, the TVL is also rising. So you notice it almost kind of stays about the same when we've had these pumps because we do have the extra volume, but since the TVL is going up as well, you know, the APR is based on the price of how much emit is staked in there. So yeah, it's kind of staying about the same in this upward trajectory, but it's all based on how much trading we have. So the more that people are selling and buying, entering and exit farms, all of that comes into consideration as far as the APR. And I think right now, what are we at now?
So selling emit helps push the single side staking APR up to 2, right? Oh, yeah, look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so as there's a sell like that, the APR will actually come up on the single-sided because then the TVL comes down.
Thank you for your contribution. We appreciate that. I won't do it again. It sounds weird to say, but oh, so this is fun.
That's almost better for the APR as well because you know, the volume, of course, is the main driving factor. So I'm actually loading it now because I bet that where the price comes down and the TVL drops a little bit, that's really when you get the higher APR on the single-sided.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody took some profit. It's good. Very good. Yeah, it's a healthy chart. You want people to take profit, you know, especially in systems like this. This is where the reflexivity really shines, I think, with emit. This is awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting how it all works together. I've had experience doing farms in the past, and basically when I built this one, I pretty much did, you know, I asked myself at the start, I was like, how could I make farming better? And that was the first thing I landed on was with the single-sided, you want those stable rewards. Because just something about collecting stable rewards, it really makes it feel like passive income, you know, because a dollar is a dollar. And that's a really good incentive as far as the staking. And then, of course, on the farming side of things, that's the yield demand. Those new emit being generated each day is kind of the incentivization to participate in the farming side of things.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, what you developed is a very well-balanced farm. And I've always said that it's one of the best farms on Pulse Chain. I mean, by far. I mean, just because of how you balanced out those issues, which have plagued all the farms, and then the go to zero problem with the emission token. Having it being a reflection token and stakeable was like that was the icing on the cake for me when I was studying and I mean, I've talked about this in private too, mechanics, that this is something that if all you need is volume, and then everything else is gravy from there, from the user perspective, because they can just do what they want to do. They can come in, they can stake, they can LP, they can speculate and sell and stuff like that. So whoever this person was that just made this big red candle, they're benefiting from the SRE's injections and emits functionality, and then we as Tru2X are benefit from their volume. So we're all winning here, and which is important. I think it's a very weird system way to think about it, but because it's really hard to develop a system where everybody wins. And I know Tru2X was our biggest focus. Is we want to do what we can so everybody who participates can win and not get hurt. So nobody's left holding the bag, so to speak, or being exit liquidity. So good deal. So we've been going through in our LP sides of things, providing LP with especially several of our IA partners, like Vouch and Gelato and stuff like that, and Vox and a few others. So we've been spreading out our LP so we can earn more EMIT, because we have some of them have higher APRs, which is very very lovely, earning all that extra EMIT.
Oh, I just saw I had a question over there. Martin asked, does single-side staking burn EMIT? The single-sided staking doesn't, but so on EMIT, there's a 5% total tax, which is on all buys or sells, and when you create EMIT liquidity, and 4% of that is what is redirected into the single-siding stable rewards, and 1% is how much is burned. So there is some EMIT being burned on each transaction as well. I actually was doing the math one day to figure out how to make a deflationary farm, because that's like the ultimate goal, right? And if we had when we have 40,000 in volume, roughly, that is when it reaches a point where we're burning more EMIT than's being created each day.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, look, with the IA partnership you have with Tru2X, though, is going to add more buy pressure outside of what the SRE is doing. So what you're going to see is, as time goes on, this perpetual buying from the IA and those partner miners, and they'll be buying EMIT. And then if you want to burn it, we can be burning it off the market as well. So your buying burn, if that's what you want to do, is going to be basically accelerated, or you can just buy and claim either way, and people can then take it and stake it or sell it or whatever. It won't matter to us, but for the EMIT itself, though, is going to have these buys coming in as well. So the partner links and stuff that we have within the Tru2X can be utilized. And so whether it's you like EMIT, you want to support EMIT, you want to support Gelato, you want to support I think Daddy Bear's got one. We have so let me pull that up. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna take this off for a second and get the other screen up. So as you can see here, we have listed communities who are partners on our miners page. You come down here, we have all these partners here, and they have their own unique ID number. And so you can see in the URL that this number here is an ID number from a card that's a referral ID. And if you picked one and they were part of your desired community with support, you could come down here at the bottom, and you could set community, and you pick one, and you could pick your community you want to set, click it and hit set and confirm your wallet, and it would then set that community for dividend distribution for your referrals. And so we have Tetra, we have eShares. This is the EMP Money guys, and they're on base. See, this is a we'll actually go cross chain and provide value for non-pulse chain native tokens as well. We have the ability to do so. Here we have EMIT, who's 130. Then we have Tru2X, Pulse Bitcoin from Fat Sammy and his crew. We have Nope Token, Midgard. Now, Midgard is a different case because Midgard doesn't even have a token. I don't know if some of y'all may know that. Like, how are you supporting Midgard? Well, Midgard's also got a donation address to help support their the block explorer they developed for free and no cost to any of us as a community. And so we decided to take it upon ourselves to support Midgard and give them an IA link, and we'll give it some love internally, and they can promote it themselves. And then we will donate to that donation address to give them from the funds generated in the IA. Here we have RSI, Vouch from Jexa and his guys. We have Surf Token. We just put this up, I think, just the other day. It's 1123. And then we have Hero Token from Vets. Vets is a nonprofit, a registered nonprofit, and he has an IA link for Hero Token. You can support that for all the first responders. We have Gelato, who's actually, I think, in the lead of all depositors for the Integration Amplifier. We have the Hyperchimp Club. I think it was War Dog or something has put this up. Deddy Bear. We have the Grays currency, the PGGC. All the PGGC guys. They have that index and that's working with the cores. So if you want to support that and have buys on PTGC, which they have their own taxes and their own system, it would help that. We have Vox, the guys with Nova and that crew. Neon, another. These are not all farming systems that we're all associated with. I know we're on the same Telegram group together. We have Hex itself. Well, if you want to support and have Hex bought and put in the system, we can do that as well. And more is a Trayvon. It's his token, and he has some kind of interesting tokenomics. So we have him as a partner. And SolidX. And so we all know what happened to SolidX yesterday. So this might be the chance you can either get it to help perpetually buy your bags back. Basically what happened. And Fairhex, which is Daniel's first project he made, which is a augmented hex staking protocol that's basically immutable, just runs by itself. But that's our partner so far with Tru2X. So you can have these different options and support different groups. And when you support them on using these links, what happens is you make a deposit, you get a 2x plus a 5% bonus for the first 45 days. And then after 40, and then during that 45 days, all the partners get a 10% bonus. That's how it works. And a 10% bonus goes right into a miner, and that miner starts generating its yield through a Tru2X, and 25% of the profits of that miner goes and market buys these tokens and puts in the claim contract or a burn contract. And eventually, when the claim contract's finished, you go and claim the tokens. And you don't have to be a user of Tru2X to claim. Anybody can claim. So it's not even exclusively for Tru2X users. It's any holder or staker or however the token community is listed or designed. Anybody from that thing can get their proportional share of those tokens for free. Just come to Tru2X once a week and claim your tokens for free, as long as you're in the same wallet. So it's a interesting system that we've come up with that's very agnostic and beneficial to all the users and holders of different protocols. Let me get this back up. All right, so here we are. That's the EMIT chart again. All right. So that big dump and a couple pumps there. Let's see what happens now with SRE can continue to do. So what we do is we spread the love here. I'm spreading the love.
I was checking out the single-sided APR. It looked like we were still at about 120% when I was just checking it there. So still staying up in that triple digits.
Yeah.
And how it works is for the single-sided, those reflection rewards, it's fanned out over 14 days. So if there's a day where there's less volume, for example, it doesn't affect the system as much. because it kind of spreads it out over the coming weeks when there is a spike in volume. Just make it a little bit more consistent.
Yeah. So is that something that's adjustable in the back end, or is that something set in the contract as a hard set?
It's in the contract, but it is adjustable. Like it could be spread out over a longer time period, like maybe a month, or which would just kind of add more consistency. Because then, the rewards that are in the contract basically right now are enough to pay for the coming 2 weeks, but the coming 2 weeks is constantly moving. So, as the volume goes up, it refigures the APR.
Mm-hmm. Well, good deal. Good deal. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Martin Max King. So Surf just got a little love in the LP. And so did Vouch. So yeah, I'm looking at APRs and seeing what's available. I don't want to dilute them too bad, but at the same time, I want to support our IA partners, and I want them to spread the links around. Again, this is reciprocal. Yeah. Any other questions in chat? Let's see here. So the more volume on single-sided staking emit, the longer out it can adjust to make APR sustainable. I'm not sure about that. What do you think about that question, Karos?
So the more, so how it works is, say there's 10K in volume in one day. So that would be $400 worth of DAI that's put into the single-sided staking contract. It spans it out, so that whole $400 isn't immediately rewarded in that first day. It's spread out over 2 weeks. And basically what that does is it just makes it so if there's a day where there's not a lot of volume, it kind of evens it out. And this way, the APR kind of stays more consistent, if that makes sense.
So let me ask you this: what would happen if you shorten that up? So now that the SRE is involved, what if you shorten it up, say, to 5 days? And all of a sudden, if we're continually doing this, right? Because I got to do something every day with the stuff, right? You shorten to 5 days, basically, it would double everybody's daily rewards, wouldn't it?
Yeah, essentially, it would show the APR as higher because it would be distributing the rewards faster. I've been pretty happy with the 2 weeks, though. I think it's worked really well. But of course, things are always adjustable, and maybe we can try something different. But yeah, no complaints with how it's been set up.
Yeah. I mean, it does what it does. I'm just trying to nudge you and say, hey, man, why don't you just hook us up with a little bit more APR per day? It's my subtle hint. Hey, man, just take a couple of days off that. Let's see what happens.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the volume was the reason I made it like the 2 weeks is just because, if there's a day or a couple of days even where there's not a lot of volume, kind of like we saw with before the SRE funds, we kind of had a month there where things were just slow. But the APR stayed relatively decent because it is fanned out over that 2 weeks. And basically during that period, I mean, there was some trading, people selling rewards, but a lot of that came from like just arbitrage volume. The bots kind of doing their thing and fixing the LP prices. So the users kind of directly benefit from that, which is cool. So, I mean, theoretically, I could set that to a year, and then the yearly APR would be guaranteed all the time, but it would start much lower. You know what I mean?
Yeah, about 2% or something, whatever math would be, or
right. But it would only basically be going up as we got volume. But if I did it that way, then the whole yearly rewards would basically be guaranteed. Right now, if there's a few low days and the APR comes down, basically, it's only guaranteeing that 2 weeks. That's how much it has in the rewards contract presently.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I would like to see it personally. I'd like to see you shorten that up now that the SRE is involved, and kind of, even if it's just for just a couple of days to see what happens, right? How does the market react? How do people react, right? What are they going to do with that extra die they're getting every day if you do that? That'd be interesting to see the psychology once they see even higher APRs from single side staking. Would they hoard more, right? Sell less?
Yeah, I mean the APRs would come up, but like I said, I don't know. The time duration seems to work pretty well where we've had it, but we'll see if the volume stays consistent. Maybe that's something that the users want to see. Then it's doable.
Mm-hmm. And just like that, most of that cell was eaten up, wasn't it?
Ate it right back up.
Imagine that. Imagine that. So, do you have can you pull up the current single sign staking percentages? Do you have that readily available, or does it take a little bit to process?
For as far as the holders in there, you mean like I had yesterday?
Yeah, that percentage sheet that you generated.
Yep. Yeah, I can generate another one for today. Just take a minute here.
Kind of curious where we're at now with all the stuff. So Martin asked the question, what are the Tru2X plans to do marketing if PLS keeps going down? Well, that's something outside of our control. We can't control the price of Pulse, and so our marketing is still the same. We're a DeFi tool, service tool. And we chose Pulse on Pulse Chain because it has the thickest liquidity and it's the L1, meaning it's the token that everybody must have in order to operate on the chain. And so there's not a person on Pulse Chain who doesn't have Pulse. Therefore, it was really a no-brainer for us to utilize it as first token to double with our DeFi service tool. Now, if the price of Pulse keeps going down, we act as a 50% stop loss, basically. So you pausing your Pulse into Tru2X, you are at least guaranteed to stand a 50% loss in dollar value and still break even. But as far as marketing and stuff, we'll keep on carrying on doing what we're doing, doing these live streams and talking about what we've built. We still are the highest APY generating yield service tool that exists on Pulse Chain as we speak. There's nothing else even coming close right now with our volumes and our yield production. So if you have Pulse and you see the price going down, would you want to at least try to slow the pain down by putting it somewhere you can at least withstand 50% of it, the dollar value loss? If you hold just liquid in your wallet right now, you're just losing value. And idle capital will do you no good. And Tru2X provides a place where you can take that idle capital, put it somewhere, and let it earn yield where you can then be put to use once the market recovers. Then you have twice as many units. So if you understand how systems work and crypto works, it's all a ratio game, and units are king. It's not about dollar value. I have a buddy of mine, Phil, in Tetra. He's a dollar guy. Like, I look at numbers and I want my money in and out in dollar terms. And I understand that. And then there's a way to think about that. And he's probably done better than most if he sold out earlier with some of his positions and different things because he looked at dollars. But if you're more of a long-term holder and think long-term about how you need to do crypto, how you want crypto to work for you, units are where you want to be. So no matter what the cryptocurrency is or asset you're looking at trying to hold on to or maintain, well, having more of the units is always better because price will fluctuate, go up and down. When it goes up, you'll be in a better position to take more profits than if you just held on to the static number of units you had in your wallet. So Tru2X provides a way to double those units through our mechanisms and the tools we provide. And so if you think about what we've done with EMIT and this partnership, as the SRE, is injecting this capital to earn more yield and bring it back, it's one of the many places we'll be utilizing this capital. And those who were thinking about it or paying attention are the ones who are basically benefiting. And in this case, since most of the people who were shaking out EMIT already at the lows, only the true believers stayed. And they're the ones who are staked in the in the single side staking, and they are the ones who are now benefiting from Tru2X's SRE capital injections. And the SRE, we're just getting started. What you're seeing here is only a small percentage of the SRE allocations that we are sending out. Most of it's going back into our 1XR miners. But when we start switching that up percentage, that amounts up, the amounts we're putting wherever in each group for yield and volume projection and production, the SREs are actually going to be supercharged with even more capital to go out into the greater market. So this is just a taste. I'm only basically just giving you a small percentage of what we have the potential to do. And you will see the SRE basically make a big splash here in the next month or so, 2 months, into the overall Pulse Chain ecosystem. So projects and LP providers and all this LP webbing we have with EMIT and all the LP pools and stuff will have even more impact. And so you should see a lot of this. I mean, today was Vouch and I think Surf, and we're targeted as some LP deposits made. So if you check the chart on Surf and I'm not sure how it's webbed out, you probably see a little green candle. That's us. That's what we're doing. So, I mean, it's one of the things that we're trying to do. We're trying to help the chain, support the chain, and provide value. And with the SRE, we don't sell the tokens and LP stuff. That's not the purpose. We're not here to make money on Surf token and sell it or whatever. That's not the purpose of the SRE. We want the LP position because it earns yield in EMIT. And then we'll deal with the EMIT accordingly and probably sell it as time goes on. So, and PTGC was another one I did today as well. So PTGC got some love as well from our SRE because they're a partner, an IA partner as well. So I want y'all just to think about it and watch what we're doing. We're very vocal about this, and every day, EMIT gets some love. So don't fade EMIT. I mean, if you're still skeptical, we just did it live on air that we pushed the price, from where all the way up to $1. It's $1.62 now, right now, and that's with a big sell off in the middle of our actions, which is good. We want that, and we encourage people to front run us. Again, we're not here to hoard for the sake of the price of the token. We're here to use these funds exclusively for yield generation, and it will pay more and more dividends to all the users of Tru2X, and that's what it's for. So Martin says, I mean, when the PS is down, there's little interest from users. I understand that, Martin. In the greater crypto space, yeah, it's true because when you think about crypto in general, not just Pulse Chain, but all the chains and stuff, we're going down pretty hard. But we also go up harder, and that's another thing to consider. Now, it depends on your mindset. I mean, but eventually, this Pulse is not the only token we're going to utilize in Tru2X. We will launch another Tru2X tool with a different token. And we talked about and other tokens, not just one, but many. This will be a process and this technology we've developed and invented. So eventually there'll be other tokens like wrapped Ethereum, Base, BNB, et cetera. So it won't be just Pulse Chain because we're not a chain exclusive tool or service. Now, where we may stay on chain, use like wrapped ETH, wrapped BNB, and wrapped Base and whatever, just because the technology works better over here. Let's say on these other platforms or the chains, just because of their infrastructure and maybe their lack of stability. But over time, though, this is just the beginning for us. We are developing an ecosystem that is going to go out and make a splash in Pulse Chain, and hopefully a splash in the greater crypto markets. When people see our technology, they see how we can utilize it, and our time to market will be reduced as we expand our capacity and our and the development of process speed and people and staff, that we will be able to really show crypto what we can do. So hopefully everyone who's watching pays attention and keeps watching us. So we're really doing the best we can with what we have. We're just getting started. We're only on day 10. So we're already at over, what is the 185 billion pulse already, plus whatever's been hit deposit since the day turned over today. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good impact. It's the biggest thing in Pulse Chain right now. And, we're going to continue to move and grow. And as users come and go, they'll do what they do as users do. And we, in our system and the projections and all the tools we built with all the 1XR miners, IA partners, and the SRE and its capital injections from outside, continue to make the system move forward, regardless of the number of users that actually participate.
I'll post that report in the chat there. For some reason, while I'm broadcasting, it's not letting me collect all the events correctly. So I think it's just got a little lag on there.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think we ended up with like 19 something thousand tokens, whatever it is. Let's see. Yeah, 19.7 roughly. 19,700, normally speaking.
Yeah. I just got to run it once I'm not broadcasting. It should go through fine. It's just querying the Pulse Chain
around 15% or so, something like that, 16%, somewhere around. I'm guessing that's pretty good. We're getting there, though.
I'll do that daily report again and put that in there.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, I'm glad everybody showed up. I'll put our Telegram in the chat. We're going to come to Telegram, ask all your questions. We're there almost all the time, 24/7, just about. And
oh, that's why I was running the wrong script.
Oh.
I was like, why is that? That don't look right. And then, no, that makes sense. That's not the right one. But yeah, I'll share it in there. It's running now, so it should be fine. Yeah.
So anyway, you have the Telegram channel. I put in the chat, and then double.tru2x.io is the UI URL to get in there and deposit your pulse to double it. And emit.farm is emit's URL. So y'all take a look, see what we're doing. We're here every day. We're doing this every day. This is a daily thing. Tru2X. So enjoy the volume, enjoy the yields, enjoy the single stock staking rewards. I know for a fact that we're diluting the pool for most of you, but still DAI coming in. And if you get tired of being diluted, just sell your tokens and make a profit because you're already up. I doubt there's many people bought at $4 and staked. There might be a few, but they're few and far between. So just let's be patient. The price will go up, and enjoy the gains. So with that, I think that's about it. It's been about an hour. Hope you enjoy the live emit SRE injections. I don't know if I'll do that. I'm going to do this every day, but I'll be doing this periodically and talk about what we're doing with Tru2X. Come on over and take a look at what we're doing. And thank you for being patient, and thank you for all the community support with True DeFi and everything we're building. Like I said, this is just beginning. Just stay tuned. Come in the chat. This is where all the information is being distributed, and we'll come on live. Follow us on X as well at Tru2X.io on X is the handle, and then myself as Neil for T-Shares, Neil for Crypto on X, and work for Crypto on the Telegram, as well as the YouTube channel here. So, all right, with that, I'm gonna shut the stream down. I appreciate y'all, and close out. So yeah, appreciate everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you would, just remember, you can always save, earn, and grow. Tru2X.io. Have a nice day and take care.